Good afternoon, Senator Lahovich, Representative Graham, and distinguished members of the State and Local Government Committee. My name is Diane Russell. I represent District 120 in the Maine House of Representatives, serving the good people of downtown Portland and Munjory Hill. You will have to pardon the shiner. I got sort of lost the fight with a bathtub about a week ago. My apologies. I did not get beat up, I promise, but it certainly felt that way. I'm here to introduce LD 1541, an act to ensure that legislators share the sacrifice with civil servants in the event of a state government shutdown. As headlines increasingly include the phrase state shutdown, it is time to have a public conversation about consequences. In the event of a state shutdown, there will be serious consequences to families who no longer have services for that period of time. There will be serious consequences to civil servants who will not know when their next paycheck might be or how many days have been docked from it. And there will be serious consequences to the local economy as businesses question market predictability due to ideological discourse. However, there will be no economic consequences for us, the very politicians entrusted with our state's future. It is time to lead by example. It is time to impose consequences on ourselves and send a message to the public that we are listening. As you know, we regularly pore over about 2,000, 2,500 bills each term, parsing out policy and debating semantics. Despite our passion and our persistence on each individual bill, the overarching fundamental purpose of serving our people is to ensure that our government continues forward and provides appropriate services for the people of Maine. This requires passage of a biennial budget. It could be argued that this is our single most important objective. In recent years, there has been a tenor added to our national political rhetoric. That tenor was enough to cause renowned U.S. Senator Snowe to leave office and write an entire book on the subject. I am not getting royalties for saying that. As rhetoric has escalated, productivity has significantly decreased. A clear symptom of this has been the sequestration, which will enter month 3 at the beginning of next month. I have heard from thousands of people across this country who are outraged by the maelstrom of political rancor that has stalemated Congress and brought it largely to a full stop. A couple of months ago, I launched a petition asking Congress and the President to take a 20% pay cut, comparable to the across-the-board cuts rolling out due to the sequester. While Congresswoman Duckworth has taken an 8.4% pay cut and the President took a 5% pay cut, there continues to be a feeling from everyday people that politicians continue to be out of touch. As I hear from civil servants across the country about the impact of sequestration cuts, it has forced me to feel the fear these people feel. These are complete strangers, and they are sharing their deeply personal stories with me. I can't just turn away when they tell me not just about the impact on their families, but that their concerns with the departmental cuts that are impacting our public safety. I also cannot turn away from the bitterness people are feeling as they email me about their outrage at, quote, all you politicians. Maine has always been a special place, far from the reaches of this rancor. However, I am seeing it creep in bit by bit to the point where the words state shutdown are now dominating our headlines. There are not many lawmakers left here in Augusta who were here during the last state shutdown, but their stories are worth hearing and they are a wake-up call. I lived through the first state shutdown as my mom served as a civil servant at the time. For 2 weeks, work stopped. My folks did not know if or when her paychecks would resume, or how many furlough days would ultimately reduce their monthly income going forward. To say the least, it was a scary time for my family. When I introduced this bill to Legislative Council a couple of months ago, I started hearing from people throughout the State House. quietly. Over and over and over, I heard from the very people who we see and say hello to each day, I can't have an opinion, but thank you for this bill. Further, in less than 2 days, more than 30,000 people have signed a petition supporting LD 1541. Why would such a simple bill catch the attention of civil servants, specifically civil servants who spend day after day listening to us do nothing but debate bills? The reason is because this bill requires shared sacrifice from us, lawmakers, in the event of a state shutdown. Some might argue, myself included, that some might argue that $14,000 is a huge salary for a politician, but we know it's nearly impossible to live off of. I even think it's safe enough that we don't do this for the money. That said, we do need to feel real consequences. We do need to have real skin in the game if we fail to pass a budget and end up shutting down the government. It's true that late next year, Mainers could just vote us thumbs out. However, as our civil servants wonder whether their paychecks will stop suddenly on June 1st, ours will already have run out. Their sacrifice will mean very little to us as we spend our time debating ideology and knowing that there are no more paychecks coming this year. This bill changes that paradigm. While it is indeed a small gesture, I believe it is an important gesture. LD 1541 requires the salary of all legislators to be reduced by an amount that is proportional to the length of a shutdown that occurs due to a biennial budget not being enacted into law by July 1st. This is just the biennial budget, not the supplemental. You may also be thinking, well, if our paychecks are finished by then, how are we going to feel the consequences? That is true. And that is precisely why the equitable cut will be taken in the next session, the short session. Now, I want to be very clear that I remain very hopeful that Maine will not follow in the footsteps of Washington, D.C. I remain hopeful that we will not end up following in brinksmanship politics, because I do fundamentally believe that we are better than that. However, if we do come to the brink, and if we do choose to go over it, and it is a choice, this bill ensures that we share the sacrifice with our civil servants. I would argue it is an added deterrent to doing so. I thank you for your consideration. I look forward to working with you to send a strong message to Mainers across the state. We hear you.